Hey folks, just a quick disclaimer before we start episode 3. Just wanted to let you know that we messed up and we did not record the audio through the actual microphones like we have for the previous episodes. Unfortunately, it was only recorded through the audio on the GoPro and the audio through my laptop microphone. So the GoPro audio sounded better between the two. It's still not going to sound too stellar. However, we decided to keep and release this episode anyway because the conversation was a good one. Neither Charlie or I agree with the Valtteri Bottas George Russell incident whatsoever, so you get to hear our wild opinions about that. And then we get to talk about the karting ventures that both of us participated in over the weekend, which, to have both conversations again just for the sake of recording an episode, better audio, it just wouldn't be as natural. Why would you want to say the exact same thing you said an hour ago again just for the sake of an episode? So if you can stomach the fact that it's not going to sound as good as our previous episodes, I hope you enjoy. If you don't want to listen to it, well, even though it's not going to sound great, you might miss out on a great conversation. So it's up to you, but I still hope you enjoy. Hooligan podcast, episode 3, officially a dynasty, right? That's how it works.
I think so, as long as we're still broadcasting, yeah, sure.
Yes, we are.
All
we
right.
Still have our small fan base of 50-some viewers.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe we picked up a few over the weekend, possibly.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't do much in promoting it. I was like, hey, are you that? No, that's not me. Nope.
So we got a few fun things to talk about. We got the Formula 1 weekend, of course, that happened last week. And then our own weekend that happened this week, which is very exciting because Charlie Boy here got into a car for the first time in over a year.
Yeah.
But why don't we start talking about the Formula 1 weekend?
Absolutely. So if you happen to listen to podcast number 2,
yep.
I went out on a limb and said, not so much going out on a limb saying Max is going to be taking home the win, but I said Lando. Finished third.
And he finished third.
That
was
and Max got the win.
Yeah.
So, I'm happy just because I like those guys, but I'm also thrilled that I was right. You were way off. You picked like Bottas or something, right?
I literally said in the last podcast.
Couldn't have been more wrong.
I know. I was like, Bottas is going to have a good day. I think he's going to win. And then I think I put Hamilton somewhere in the podium spots. But,
yeah.
I really, it went the absolute complete wrong way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Entirely.
So we're going to treat this recap like Drive to Survive. We're not going to go in order. I'm starting with this, okay? Hot take. Why do people continue to say Lewis Hamilton is not the greatest?
Yeah, I know, dude.
Seriously, you watch that comeback performance to get second place, and you're still out there, oh, if everyone was in this car, anyone could do it. No.
I don't.
The guy beaches it, literally in the gravel, dirt, grass, and he somehow had the wherewithal to find reverse before stalling it. He's jammed, his nose is up against the wall.
True, yep.
He backs up. Here's another thing. It's not like they got a backup camera or even the ability to turn their head. He backs it up successfully on a hot track, doesn't even infringe on anyone, which is saying more than what Latifi did when he friggin' ran into Mazepin, remember?
The first lap there, yeah.
But, just doing that in itself, even if he didn't come all the way back to second, shows his experience and his ability, his brains, and everything as a driver.
I agree, dude.
It's just, come on, how much more does the guy have to do?
I don't know.
I use the relationship to, or the reference to Tom Brady. It's the same thing. People are there, Tom's number 7, it's still 7, he's got to get 8. What is it with Lewis? At what point? So, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing, dude.
And you don't probably disagree with me. So.
I do not. This is probably the one thing we're going to agree about quite a bit. I do believe he is in the running and probably is the best Formula 1 driver there ever was because of just there's all the success, but the success is very just. So if we talk about Michael Schumacher, who also has the 7 championships and was the best driver previous to Lewis, a lot of his success is, what's the word I'm looking for? Controversial. His first championship, I'm pretty sure, he won because he was trying to pass Damon Hill, who was his main rival at the time, and kind of knocked him off into the wall, which allowed Schumacher to win his championship.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the only time he's ever done that. He tried to do the same to Jacques Villeneuve in a race at, I can't think of the track, but there was a race where, Jacques actually made out better. But they got together in a corner. Schumacher goes off into the gravel. His plan to keep Jacques behind him didn't work, and he ended up beaching it, lost the race, lost the championship. You can go all the way to 2006, which was his last year racing F1 before his first retirement. He goes out in Q3 in Monaco, right? He does a pole lap. He's first place in Q3, but Q3's not over. On his cool down lap, he, stuffs it. He doesn't really actually stuff it, but he gets nice and close to one of the walls in the last corner and gets stuck, which then immediately makes everybody's qualifying lap, invalid because they have to slow down for the yellow flags.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of stuff that the other drivers have done that's kind of, shitty and controversial to win. You know what I mean? You don't have those moments with Lewis Hamilton.
No, he's as clean as it gets.
Right.
Literally as clean as it gets.
There's no bullshit with him.
No, people underestimate that. But I was going to say there's a lot of great drivers, athletes that have, stretched the rules, cheated, or intimidated.
Which they all do, I'm sure.
Yes, but Lewis is about as squeaky clean as it comes. Even squeakier, cleaner than Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He deflated the footballs, and Lewis is what...
Like everybody else, but it's a different subject.
Well, Lewis is allowed to deflate his tires, so that's the difference. But I don't know. I mean, it's just, let's move on. If you still, I don't know, if you're still one of those non-believers out there, then just get a clue.
Right. But Lewis Hamilton did not win the race last weekend. It was
Max
Verstappen, Super Max,
and that race was over after turn 1. I mean, he got the jump. He got the jump. It was an incredible start.
Yep.
Absolutely incredible. And Max, correct me if I'm wrong, he started, was it third?
No,
or was it Sergio started third?
No, he did start third. I'm sorry. Yeah, Sergio started second.
But starting third was actually to his benefit. Because if you look at the grid for the track, I mean, this is why I don't know if that's what he intentionally did, but you'll hear drivers be like, oh no, you want to be in third versus second and vice versa. I think that's very difficult to say that he planned that, but it was an amazing start in the wet.
Yeah, it was.
And he just had the run on him, and I thought it was clean. I thought it was fair. He left Lewis. This is where we'll get into this later, but listen, he left him the curbing. It wasn't, Lewis kept it together pretty well going over those aggressive sausage curbs.
He kept it
So
together
you don't
pretty
think he gave him enough room?
Here's the thing that's funny to me about Formula One versus other disciplines of motorsport. No, I don't. It's so funny because I'm a big Max fan. I'm a huge Max Verstappen fan.
Yeah.
I've been watching Formula One for 10 years. For those first 5 to 6, I didn't have a favorite driver. I just enjoyed the sport. And once Max came in and started doing his amazing performances, I all of a sudden had a favorite driver. So I'm a huge Max fan. But the thing is...
He had the line.
There's a lot... He had the line, sure, but there's this weird thing in Formula One, and I don't see it in motorsport on this side of the Atlantic anyway, where... It seems like if you have the corner halfway through the corner, then you have this entitlement to just have the racing line and just this guy doesn't matter anymore. Screw him, and that's exactly what happened.
That's open wheel racing though. When you think,
no, it's not, dude. If you watch IndyCar, they don't do that. I know you don't.
Yeah,
you don't watch
can't
IndyCar.
do it.
Yep.
Weird looking windscreen. I can't do it. And then the front plow. No.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Anyway. So. That's what happened, right? So Max is like, yeah, I'm already halfway beside you at the apex of the corner, so you don't exist no more, whatever, and just pushed him off track into the the turtles there, and then.
But he didn't push him. Lewis could have stood back, couldn't he?
There might have been a little bit of contact.
Oh, there was. You're right. There was. Yeah, I just watched the recap.
But,
there was definitely contact.
So, but that happens.
Wait, real quick before you go. Was that what damaged his front wing, or was it the curbs?
I think it's the curbs.
Because
if you watch the incident, he goes over those curves, and then you see
the whole thing was like a lowrider bouncing up and down.
For an F1 car, it was a monstrous ride. But you don't see that little bit come off his wing until he's done with the curves. Yeah. And Max is already gone.
Yeah.
So that happens very often in Formula One. And if you think I think it was last year or the year prior, where Verstappen was racing Leclerc. It must have been 2019 because there's no way Leclerc was doing well in 2020.
Yeah, but don't you just think that's the nature of the sport? There's
No.
no fenders. You got open wheel cars. You can't just drive over someone else's tire like you could in NASCAR, IMSA, and whatever else. I mean,
Right, but they do it. That's the thing. I'm telling you, it's like they get halfway through a corner, and as long as one guy is ahead halfway through the corner than another guy, it's like treat that guy like he doesn't exist and just
because it's a gentleman's agreement that you yield. I guess what I'm saying. Unless there's
But I don't. Here's the thing. Here's what I'm trying to get to. I don't see that in other forms of racing. NASCAR, you don't see it only because there's spotters, and spotters are the ones who are trying to tell you when you're clear.
and there's not enough road course racing anyway, so.
And there's not a lot of road course racing in NASCAR as it is. They're putting more on there, which is cool, but not not nearly enough. But I also, when you think about IndyCar, I don't think IndyCar has spotters like NASCAR would, and they race on road courses half the time.
Yeah.
I mean, they do have spotters. I just don't know how populated they are around a road course. You'll see IndyCar guys race way cleaner. Actually, if they're halfway at the apex, they still do like acknowledge this guy's existence, and they won't just track.
And there is more passing, as Rick was saying. Yeah.
There is. There is more passing.
Wait, I got to comment on that real quick. So the funny thing is, because we were chatting over race weekend yesterday about it, or practice weekend, whatever the hell you want to call it, and my peon brain, there's too much. Where Formula One, it's very easy to follow. You're watching the passing. It's like a big event when there's a pass, and it's just it's just easier to follow. I just gotta say that it's too much back and forth, and it just becomes I don't know. It's sorry, didn't mean you on a side tangent there.
All right, so
and this is all just about Max. Max dominated that.
yes,
It was Max's race to lose after that point.
Sure.
He
As it usually is at turn one in Formula One.
It's so funny. That is true.
Because,
Good point.
when you're learning about racing, especially as like a karter or like anybody who does a driving class, they always tell you like, the race isn't won in turn one.
Right, but in Formula
It is
One,
in Formula One. If you get in turn one, you're set. You're golden.
it's a good point.
Yeah,
It's a good
but
point.
that's just because of how the cars are. They can't follow
Yeah.
the heavy aero that they need to use. But just to continue my point. Like I was saying, Max Verstappen 2019 versus Charles Leclerc in Austria did the exact same thing to pass for the lead late in the race, where he just, he got halfway beside Leclerc at the apex and just pretended he wasn't there, forced Leclerc off the track.
This is the thing. He wasn't off track, so that's considered on track through those curves. Even though they're aggressive curbs, that's on track. Yeah, you can put two wheels on that. Absolutely.
Two, but not four.
He didn't have four now.
Yes. Well, I don't know. We need to look at pictures.
Yeah.
To get the real.
I've been a keyboard warrior over the weekend. Let me tell you. As I waited in line to get into to the event yesterday, I was fighting people and showing screenshots and this and that. And one of them was the Lewis case. The other was Bottas, which we'll get to later.
Yes.
Or we'll just jump right to it right now.
Well, all right. So, regardless, you understand what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah, I get it.
It seems
I
like guys in Formula One. Let me make one more example.
Yeah.
There's an example of in Mexico with Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso when he was still in the sport. The first time before he retired. I think Lewis had come into the pits, and that's why he was behind Alonso in the not so good McLaren at the time. They go into turn one, and Lewis goes up the inside of Alonso. And it's the same thing. It's like, yeah, I'm beside you. They go to the apex. Halfway ahead. And he just pushes them right off the track. Now, not off the track because there's still asphalt out there a little bit, but past the white lines with all four wheels. And it's considered great racing by the Formula One community.
Here's the thing. If there's a wall there, then you need to respect that gap. Or the,
sure.
Not kill the guy.
You know what? That is
but if there's no wall there,
yeah.
I mean, that's how karting is. That's how it seems like, in my rental experience.
Oh, in rentals, maybe.
Yeah, are you there? I don't care. And this is what I'll forever miss is X1 Outdoors, where some asshole thinks they're going to do just that, do the Lewis to you. And little do they know, I'm mowing the lawn, baby. I'm not stopping or slowing down. You want to push me off track? I'm going to come off track. And when I come back on, you better believe it, I'm going to be ahead of you, and I'm going to punch you right off the track again. And that's, God, I miss that.
Okay.
Well, where else could you can't rent carts outdoors. Not with the bumpers on them, right? Wasn't that X1 Outdoors the only one that around here in all of New England?
The only
I don't
thing
know
I
of
can
any.
think of is if you go to Western Massachusetts, there's a place called Pioneer Valley Indoor Karting.
No, but I'm talking outdoor.
However, they do have garage doors that open to go like an outdoor spot to do some more racing. So it's like half indoor, half outdoor, depending on.
Yeah.
You're right. I really don't know in this.
Because in a kart, like in World Formula or a tag or whatever, a shifter, you're not gonna just go mow the grass and come back on like I don't fucking care. Right. You're not. But with a rental cart, that's a piece of shit. You know, you do it.
Yeah. So yes, anyway. Max, like you said, he dominated the race after getting into turn 1, even though we had safety. You saw the part where after the restart, or actually right before the restart,
he almost spun. Right?
He almost spun, which is hilarious.
He almost lost. That would have. Wait a second. It would have. Yes, it would have because they were under caution. So if he had spun there, he would have lost those positions.
I'm really surprised Leclerc didn't overtake him. That was the perfect opportunity. Because if you think about it, Sergio Perez got nailed. Remember?
Yes. So I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
I don't know if the ruling is correct on this because what about Charles Leclerc formation lap?
Yeah.
Spun out, but he was allowed to get those positions back. Why is it you can do that in the formation lap?
Yeah.
But yet in the race, under caution, if you spin out or whatever and you lose positions, you take it back? No, 10-second penalty. That makes no sense.
Yes, none. I'll explain it to you.
Yeah, please.
All right, so first of all, that was Carlos Sainz, not Leclerc. Carlos Sainz is the one that spun out in the formation.
Oh, okay.
All right.
One Ferrari's as good as another. Whatever. Anyway.
The reason that Sainz could take his positions back is because the race has not started. It's the warm-up lap.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right.
So nothing's being scored.
I gotcha. But wait, what if he spun out and couldn't restart, or like he stalled it or whatever?
Then that's a whole different thing.
Because then
if he did stall where he couldn't restart,
he's got to start from pit lane, right?
It's probably a pit lane start at that point. Correct. Just like Perez in the first race.
So, but do you think Perez was that? Because I really felt bad for him. Would you say that's all him and he's an idiot because he should have known better that he couldn't overtake those 2 spots he lost?
I'm sure he's talking to the team while it's happening. Like, oh, what do I do? And
I don't think so. It happened so quick because he didn't spin and stall. He just spun and went right back.
He didn't really spin. He just kind of like
and
went off in the gravel.
And he just took the positions back. So wait, I did not know this. So let's just use karting.
Okay.
It's race 1, May 8th.
Yep.
You're in a caution. Some guy in front of you spins out. You're allowed to pass him now?
All right.
Because I did not think you could do that. I didn't think you could ever overtake under a caution. That's just...
No, you can't. So this is hilarious.
It's probably
to go on another avenue here. One of my first World Formula races that I ever did, I was starting from pole, right? We go out to go do our warm-up lap, and I'm scrubbing tires. I go into the first corner, loop it right around, go into the grass. Everybody passes me, right? So I'm like, I guess this is what I deserve. I guess I'm going to start from last now. I can't start from first. And then I'm sitting back there. Everybody's looking back at me like this. And they're all like, no, come like this. They're all
wait, hold on. Shit. So wait, this was green flag?
No, this was not. This is formation lap going out.
Okay.
And I had spun out because
I was formation lap though, like you said again.
Yeah.
So
so I guess... All right, so maybe it doesn't quite apply, but it was just hilarious at the time because they were all like, yeah, come to the front again. You had the position. Oh, okay. And then I ended up, winning the race.
What would have been the ruling, though? Let's say they didn't say that, because I totally wouldn't have done that. You would have been like, you.
I don't know. It was X1 Outdoors. They don't really have much rules, but...
Oh, you mean this was, bumper rental?
No, this was World Formula.
Oh, okay.
This is World Formula, but it was my first season. Actually, I think what I'm talking about was, my first win or maybe second win ever.
So wait, you ended up winning that race?
I ended up, yeah. So I was all like, why'd you guys let me do that? I would have not probably won the race,
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think in the heat of the moment, everyone not becomes dumb, but you sometimes forget the rules of the sport. And
like you said, it happens so fast.
Yeah, it happens so fast to me now. I guess what I'm saying is with Sergio, I would have done the same thing. Fucking take the positions back because here's why. In racing... You have to act as if, like in anything in life. So in other words, if you're just like, okay, I'm just, I spun out, I'm going to give the position back, you're never going to get far. It's a race. So you should leave it in the hands of the stewards to say, no, you made a mistake, rather than just assume, I made a mistake. I'm going to just, fuddle in line here. No, don't do that. Take the initiative. So he did the right thing. End of story.
He probably
Sergio
did the right thing.
He did.
Correct.
He still did, even though he got penalized.
To be honest,
and he spun later in the race anyway, by the way. So he's kind of
To be honest with you, dude, I've been watching Formula 1 for over 10 years now. I think that's the first time I've seen that. Where somebody goes
Really?
off. Yeah, where somebody goes off during a yellow flag and then comes back on after losing positions. I really don't think I've seen that previously. So at the time, I didn't know it was a rule infraction either.
That's
It
what's
happens-
so
it
awesome
happens
about a
so
rain
frequently.
race. So that Imola race would have been so boring if it was not a rain race, I think.
I don't know.
I mean, it's just not the most.
Yeah, you only have one
It's-
overtaking
yeah,
spot. It
it's-
really is turn one, but the
Right.
DRS zone is so big that I mean, you get close enough, you are.
Sure. Didn't they extend it too?
They did extend it for this race, yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to last year,
Which I mean is a good move.
it promotes overtaking.
I like DRS, by the way. Just gonna say that.
You know what? I don't hate it. There's plenty
I
of people
love
who do, but I think with the current way that the cars are, and maybe come 2022 when they change the whole aero package, and
Keep them more than a second behind you, and you don't have to worry about it.
sure, you can argue that, but I think when the cars can follow each other again, which is what they're working on for next year's rules package.
Yeah, with the ground effects and all and everything.
With the ground effects, less over the top aero, so that you don't have the wash. I think we can get to a point.
You'll
where,
have better and dirty air, right?
Yeah. I think we can get to a point where DRS is not necessary, which a lot of the purists want to see. I think if you saw a race where DRS isn't used with the current cars, you wouldn't have any action. And I know that probably pisses a lot of people off, but I don't think you would.
No,
I think you would have 3 overtakes a race.
You have to
that's
have
it.
DRS right now in the current state.
Right. And it's not the sexiest thing to have DRS as the only way to overtake, because it really is. I mean, can you think of another place that anybody passed each other during the race last weekend?
No.
No, it was only turn 1 where the DRS zone was.
Or someone spun. Yeah.
Yeah, or bullshit happens, but I mean, there was a time, I think it was last year, the year prior at Abu Dhabi, where DRS wasn't working. Like the FIA couldn't get it to work or whatever.
Yeah, I kind of faintly remember that.
People were like, "This is great." They actually had to work for the overtakes. Which some of the guys did. Some of the guys did, but
Hold on though. This is the thing. Let's just while we're on the topic of DRS.
sure.
Bahrain.
Yep.
I believe that was where Lewis fended off Max.
Yep.
Under several DRS attempts. So you can do
A
it.
couple, yep.
You can do it. No, he
it's
did like
possible.
3 or 4 of them easily.
Sure. Yep.
In the end.
Yep.
And once again, why Lewis the best, but you can fend it off. Not easily. Like a good example, remember Lando? He could not fend it off. Remember Max overtook him because Lando was in second place.
Which
Imola,
race?
sorry,
In Imola. Okay. Yep.
And Lewis just stormed up on him, and after the race, Lando's like, yeah, that. I don't have anything for him. You know what I mean? The guy's too fast. And he just blew right by him.
Yeah.
If that was Lewis to Lando, it wouldn't have been that easy. That's my point. DRS is not a foregone conclusion that you got the spot. It just isn't. It's an
Not
aid.
every
It's
time.
An aid.
No, but it is a massive help.
Yeah, but it's good.
Well, all right. Now it is time that we should talk about the one DRS pass that did not go well for either driver involved.
No, and
that
you know,
is the
all right.
No, I'm sorry. The Valtteri Bottas and George Russell overtake that did not work out for either driver, and we have 100% different opinions. What are you doing?
I happened to take. Well, this is our version of Jamie with the still shots. I took a still shot of video of Bottas. You look at this. Now this is the best I could do. It's very difficult. I would argue he moved even further to the right, which is evidence he left the guy no room, and it was not necessary. This dry line, wet line, bullshit. Look at the track. It was dry enough. It's a straightaway. There's no need. Yeah, take a look.
All right. Yeah, all right. So
I'm just look at it. I went to the extra efforts to actually prove my point.
I understand.
The detective work. So when you see that, what do you see?
I see plenty of open asphalt for an F1 car to get by. I do. I understand.
But you haven't seen impact yet. There was still movement going to the right. I caught that.
I'm seeing All right, hang on. For those who are watching the video and those who are listening, just through audio, what I'm looking at right now is a picture of Valtteri and Russell, moments before they crashed, and what it is you can see that Valtteri's right front tire is well over the pit exit lane where guys would come out.
Where theoretically the whole point of that is right. It's a width for a cart, whatever. It's
Yes.
I mean, yes. Is there a couple inches on each side? Sure, but it's not. The whole point is though he didn't need to cross that. Crossing that line is all the evidence I need to point blank. Now I do agree with the stewards. It's a racing incident. I actually agree with that.
Yeah.
But in the court of outside of the track, I think George Russell should have just punched him clear in the face, right in the nose. I'm a fan of Bottas, but you know what? He's out of line here. He is.
I really don't think so, dude. I really don't think. All right. To finish my conclusion on your one picture here, I still see enough car for an F1 car to be right beside us.
They're going 185 miles an hour. Do you really think that?
200 miles an hour? Yeah, I do. And you can even see from the picture, he's already starting to turn to the left because he realizes that, oh my God, George is right there. Look at him. Look at the. There's no way. An F1 car doesn't have toe in.
So no, you can't see the wheel of Valtteri, but you can see George's wheels completely straight.
Yeah.
The guy, he pressed him. All it needed was a little bit of his tires to be in the grass, and that's all it took because it's wet. And it's the fastest part of the track. Anyway, it didn't need to happen. The race didn't need to happen. If he did not cross that white line, then I would say absolutely George's fault.
But you have the damp line on the inside.
No. There's room, though. He didn't need to move over. He moved beyond the dry line. Okay? You know how you can see, once again, further evidence? You look at my screenshot, the right tire, the right front, and I'm sure the rear too as well, are in the wet line on the right-hand side of the track. So what I'm saying is he went beyond the dry line and is in the wet on the right. Look it. You can see the wet. Yes, look.
Russell.
Valtteri. You can see it.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. Look at the right tire. See the dark pavement, light pavement. He's in the dark pavement. He moves from the dry line into the wet for no reason. He moves over. What is he doing over there? You know what? They should take that freaking $1 million mistake right out of his budget. Right out of his pocket.
It was $1 million. It was €1 million, which is like probably $1,250,000 or something like that.
Right.
I do see what you're looking at. It does look actually darker.
Yeah, I'm right. I'm always right. I'm just kidding.
Always right.
I am on this podcast.
No, you're not. It's, I don't know. It still looks dry to me.
You know what we should do is post it up on Reddit on the iRacing community. Who's at fault? You know?
Yeah. Or make our own Formula Hooligan community, and then the 15 people who listen to this can actually vote. Yeah.
I have a feeling I'm going to be in the minority there, so we'll move on. I mean, they took themselves out.
Well, let me explain why I think Russell is at fault.
Yeah.
All right. From what I've said, from what I can see, it still looks like it is dry to me on the right side there. He went for it anyway. He wouldn't go for it if he thought it was damp. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't go for it on the outside if he thought it was still damp. And there's still plenty of room, even with his right front tire Valtteri's right front tire crossing into the pit exit. There's still enough room.
You don't get it. George was being the gentleman, moving as far right as possible to not touch Valtteri. If he just gave him the space, they would have both been fine. That's my point. The event could have been avoided.
Charlie, I understand.
In other words, here's the point though. George Russell, he didn't cause that crash.
Yes, he did. That's my whole point.
That's the thing.
Man, I understand that's your whole point.
We're never gonna. It's not even it's just the accident didn't need to occur. And
here's the way I see it.
How about this then? I'm just disappointed that George went and apologized. Stick to your guns. Whose fault it is or not whose fault?
There are people who say that. I understand.
Don't be a goddamn bitch.
But let me elaborate. All right. I didn't see any reason for George to go into the grass. That's the thing. If he's just stayed on the gray stuff, he would have been fine. Because you see, I think it caught Valtteri by surprise. I don't know what you can see in the mirrors of an F1 car. I'm assuming it's good
instinct.
enough.
He knows he's got DRS.
Sure, and I'm sure your team is in there telling you
But he's an experienced driver. He knew what was going on. He was in an attempt to block him because he's a competitor. Let's be real. George threatens Valtteri. Same way Vettel and Leclerc.
His career, yeah.
Yes. If it would have been any other driver, I don't think Bottas would have done that. That was 100% situational. Okay?
It's situational.
If that was Daniel Ricciardo coming up on him, I think he wouldn't have done that.
But there's all right, so the thing is when you say he wouldn't have done that, I don't know what you mean by that. Because to me, dude, it doesn't, like, George claims that, like, oh, he jerked to the right. No, he didn't. He, like, listed lazily to the right, like that. Like, just kind of like, you know, just kind of moving to the right.
Yeah, he squeezed him on the fastest part of the track in a wet race.
But it wasn't like a jerk, like, oh, screw you. It was kind of
But
just
here's
like,
what
oh,
I'm
shit,
saying. What benefit did that serve? In other words, if it wasn't going to cause a wreck, what was he going to do? It was going to end in a wreck no matter what.
No, it wasn't. That's my whole point, dude. The whole point of my argument
then hold on. If he gave him the room and he knew that George was going to pass him because he had DRS, or he was at least going to go for the pass, then why even squeeze him that much? That's my point.
He didn't.
Then why move over to the right? Why move over? That's what I'm trying to say. Why move over?
All right.
See what I'm saying?
Why move over to prevent him from even thinking about it. That's the thing. He could tell Russell.
What do you mean?
By moving over a little bit like that, you could tell Russell behind you, like, oh, I'm not going to try that no more. And you know what I mean?
But that's bullshit. That's not racing. That is. Oh man, I can't stand people that drive like that. Where it's like, I'm gonna get past, so I'm just gonna. Oh god, I don't want to name names, but let's see if you can think of who I'm thinking of.
Okay.
I'm just gonna take up the whole track and just kind of like make a big moving roadblock here. I mean,
you got one name in my head.
Okay, there you go. Oh shit.
Dude,
we'll let the people on the listening try to figure out who that might be.
If you're watching on YouTube, I know Spotify, Apple Podcasts, they don't let you comment, but if you're watching on YouTube, please, I would love to hear any of you to comment on the entire Valtteri Bottas, George Russell situation. Let me know what you think, because obviously we're not going to agree.
No, let's move on.
It's not gonna happen in this podcast, but we'll let the comments section go ahead and decide, see what they think. For what it's worth, any non-racer person that I've shown to that video always thinks that Russell's at fault. However, that's maybe not the best example.
So, I have a question. I mean, you're a racer, obviously.
Yes.
And a winner at that.
Yes.
I always put myself in the shoes of the driver. I don't know how to word this, actually. Like, I don't want to say the underdog, but like the guy that is at fault. I try to put myself in their shoes rather than the other way around. No, because I try to play devil's advocate and figure, okay, well, if people are indicating that's his fault, and I do this with everything in life, I'm always thinking from their perspective, whoa, let's put yourself in his shoes for a second. I put myself in George's shoes and I see he did nothing wrong. But anyway, it's about.
All right, that's
I don't. We'll leave it to the jury, the judge, executioner, as the 48 or so fans. AKA people that care enough to comment.
Yes. Leave comments and let us know what you guys think.
Just commenting on the race in general, I'm trying to remember now. I mean, so Sergio kind of started.
Didn't have a good day.
No, he didn't have a good day because he had the 10-second penalty. Started up towards the top. But you know what's sneakily happening here? Is Ferrari. It's like, no, at least I'm not thinking of or talking about, but you look at, they had 4-5, right? I think they finished 4-5.
Yeah. So, especially in Italy, their home country.
So we're going to have a really good battle for number 1 this year, I think, between Red Bull and Mercedes. Yeah. And I think we're going to have a really good battle for number 2 with McLaren.
Well, I think
number 3, number 3. McLaren and Ferrari.
McLaren. So I think you can honestly, I know AlphaTauri didn't have a good race last weekend, but I think AlphaTauri might be in the running for 3. If they can keep their cars on track. Like Tsunoda, I don't think he's a bad driver. Pierre Gasly has definitely shown himself to be a good driver. That car is decent, dude. It could actually do some damage.
Yeah, I don't see it as a real threat, but sure. It's entertaining.
I'll give you credit for that because it is always like the Red Bull B team, and what would the Red Bull B team be doing in 3rd place?
Let's be
real. I
real.
understand. But Ferrari doesn't look like the shit they were last year, which is cool to see. And you can see with the other Ferrari-powered teams, because that was the big problem with last year, was the Ferrari engine was shit. But you can see Alfa Romeo was actually doing all right during this weekend's race. It's unfortunate that Kimi got a penalty, and that's why he didn't finish in the points. Did you see anything about that? He finished 9th.
I didn't even really notice. No, to be honest with you, it just seemed like
it was something to do with the whole restart after the race. I really don't know.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I mean, it seemed like the back markers were the usual. Williams, Haas just had a fucking terrible day. Mick had a terrible day. I mean, all of them. And Yuki, the new guy there, he ended up he spun, didn't he?
He spun in the restart.
Yeah.
He spun in the restart.
He's been doing great. I felt bad.
Yeah.
But whatever, it is what it is. You know what's been underwhelming though is Aston Martin. I mean, they're the team from Racing Point that had the Mercedes car and all that scandal, and they were looking very well placed this year.
Yeah.
But they've been it's not looking good.
Well, once again, Lance is doing better than Sebastian. It's so depressing.
Yeah, Vettel's just full of mistakes. The guy, what did he do? He drove on the scales or something and ended up having to he's incurred some penalty and then he had to start in the back again. What is the guy doing?
Here's what happened. So both Aston Martin cars, their brakes caught on fire during the formation lap or during the warm-ups. You know how they go out for warm-ups before they come to the formation lap?
Yeah.
Both their brakes caught on fire. So they had to repair and figure out that problem before they go out for the formation lap.
Yeah.
They figured out Lance's car before they figured out Sebastian's. And this is a new rule that I didn't know existed before last weekend. Apparently, you have to have the race tires that you're going to be racing on the car, ready to go, within 5 minutes of the formation lap. That's the rule.
So that's the penalty, okay.
That's the
rule. And that resulted in a grid penalty.
No. It resulted in a 10-second penalty.
Excuse me.
Resulted in a 10-second penalty.
Okay.
The really shitty thing about the whole situation is they didn't throw that penalty until well into the race. So I think Sebastian still had to start from the pit lane, from what I remember. So, they're going about racing, doing their thing. He comes into the pits, does a regular pit stop. On pit exit, that's when they tell him, oh, by the way, you got a 10-second penalty. Awful.
Yeah.
Dude, because if they told him previously that you had a 10-second penalty, he could have come into the pits and just served it when he was happy. No, he has to come back in again.
But wait, what dictates when you can, or do you always have the choice? What dictates whether you can come in and I don't even know what I'm trying to ask. I feel like, I don't even know what I'm actually thinking of here. But when you pull in, if you can you take a 10-second penalty while you're sitting in the pits, or is it? That's pretty much how it's always done, right? You would drive in, wait 10 seconds. The mechanics can't touch the car.
Yep.
And then they would proceed with all their.
Well, yeah. Did you see? So Sergio got his penalty, right, for overtaking guys, and then he had to come in.
So, no, I know what I was gonna say. Sorry. So what I was gonna say is because Lewis has asked this before. What dictates though whether you can just add the 10 seconds on at the end of the race versus an actual true stop and go?
Right. So, I think if you come into the pits, I think you're required to take that penalty time. I don't think you have the option of just being no.
Add it on the end.
We'll take it. We'll add it at the end of the race.
Because it makes a huge difference.
Right.
Obviously.
And I've never seen it done. I've never seen it where somebody gets a penalty, they come into the pits, just do a regular pit stop, keep going, and then they take the time penalty at the end. I think.
Or you have X amount of laps, I think.
Well, you have X
amount of laps. I don't think you have to do it right on that pit, but you have X amount of laps before you need to.
Well, you have X amount of laps to come in and serve the penalty.
Right.
But I think when you come into the pits and you do have a penalty, you have to serve it during the pit stop. I don't think you're able to just take a regular pit stop and add it at the end like we were saying. Sergio was the best example of this because he had his penalty for overtaking guys over the yellow flag. He comes into the pits later on in the race for a regular, pit stop, whatever it might be. Now, did you see early in the race where he was saying the steering wheel is moving by itself?
Yeah. What was that all about?
I really don't know. But you notice when he came into the pits,
they changed wheels.
They changed wheels, but you'll see Sergio comes into the pits. He took the wheel off and he's holding it like this, right? Because he's serving his 10-second penalty. The mechanic
can't touch it.
Can't touch the wheel until 10 seconds is up. I think him as the driver was allowed to take the wheel off because he's just a driver. So he took the wheel off, had it right there with somebody else's hand ready to go.
Well, of course, he can touch whatever he wants. Yeah.
Right. The 10 seconds lapses, all right, and they took the new one, put it on, and then they came on with the rest of it.
I don't, it's weird. You always hear the drivers talk about what weird sensation is driving him with the power steering, power assist, and it's it doesn't give that resistance that you would expect going at those speeds.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I wonder why they even add that added. Why even have power steering in them?
Because it's way easier.
But
you're not.
It sounds like the drivers.
Dude, imagine Hamilton going over those turtle shells without power steering. You'd break your wrists. It would just be oh god.
What about IndyCar? Is that the same deal?
They don't, which is crazy. Crazy to me that a top of the line,
yeah, but wait, this doesn't make any sense to me They do oval racing, 220 plus miles an hour.
Yeah.
No power steering, but you're going to tell me Lewis needs power steering to go over some bumps?
All right, yeah.
Come on.
You kind of have a
I
point.
think they should not have power steering. I don't understand why they have it. I don't. Your reasoning doesn't make sense because IndyCar would have it. See what I'm saying?
Maybe. I mean,
right? It just doesn't.
But you do have to consider Formula One is always at the edge of technology, and if something like that doesn't have something as simple as power steering, which is not new technology.
I don't know why anyone. No race car should have power steering, which it leads me to what about a GT3 GT? Do they have power steering?
Yeah.
Why?
Dude.
But you don't need it once the car's moving.
GT3 is designed for professional drivers, but
gentlemen drivers, yeah.
But also 50% gentlemen drivers.
Fat, overweight, rich guys.
Exactly.
Want to get out there.
Yeah, they're not.
The car drives itself. Yeah. They got traction control, like 12-way, double stage traction control.
Right.
Well, let's just talk about that for a second. It's like bad enough to have traction control one way. Now you have it on slip like during mid corner, but then you also have traction control off the line. It's like you've got two-stage traction control, ABS, except GTE, obviously. It's like, what the hell? That's one thing I do like with Indy and Formula 1.
Consider the gentleman drivers, dude. You have to consider that guy who's a CEO.
Well, I tell you what, when I get in my sim rig, I turn all that shit off. Real men drive with no traction control. If you need traction control, you don't belong out there. It's bullshit.
No, dude, you can't say that because traction control in race cars works.
That's the point, but it should be all driver.
But my point.
I know whoever utilizes it best.
No, it's not even utilization. My point is that the traction control in a modern GT3 car is better, faster, and will provide more grip than a human can do.
No, I get that. And racing is about cutting edge. All right, fine.
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah, and thankfully, it doesn't exist in Formula One. Neither does ABS, and I quite like that. This episode of the Formula Hooligan podcast is brought to you by Newport Propane.
Wait, now Alex, does anyone even use propane anymore?
Do you live under a rock, Charles?
Well, I know you can grill with it.
Uh-huh.
But can you cook on the stove with it?
Yes.
Heat the house with it?
Of course.
Warm up the pool?
Mm-hmm.
Fuel my flamethrower so I can melt snow with it?
All right, slow down, Charles.
Well, what about when the lights go out?
A propane generator will do you right.
Okay. So who would I talk to if I want propane in my house?
Newport Propane, of course. They've been family owned and operated for over 60 years now, so I'd say they know a thing or two about propane installation and delivery. Not to mention, they'll come out and give you a free estimate on any propane systems you're thinking about adding to your home.
Sounds good to me. How do I get in touch with them?
You can call them at 401-847-6878 or visit them online at newportpropane.com. That's 401-847-6878 or newportpropane.com. Newport Propane, proudly serving the Rhode Island area for over 60 years.
Oh yeah, I like that too. So let's roll into yesterday. My first time back in a go-kart after like a year and a half.
Yes.
Holy f***, I'm still so sore. You know what? If we were doing this show standing up, I wouldn't be able to. So I found out a few things. I put on 25 pounds during COVID.
Oh man.
Might not be able to see it, but it's all here.
It's all muscle, right? That's what
it's all muscle. Not my dick got bigger. It's just, that's what it felt like it took to get out there again. You know what I mean? I was like gonna piss my pants.
I know you were
like James Hunt. You were vomiting. I was so nervous.
You were
so nervous. Holy shit! Because that was only my second time. I don't know if you realize, second time in a World Formula. That's it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yep.
But what I just commented to you, it's like riding a bike. Which I started doing again too, which is dangerous. But it's like riding a bike in that you get that muscle memory back, and just it's beautiful. Like I was on a cloud. I still am right now.
Cool. Like
goddamn, World Formulas, they have the perfect amount of power and everything. Because we were just talking about this off air. You're not gonna spin out on power. They have just the right amount of power. It's perfect. It's a momentum car. We've used the analogy about a Miata, sort of the same deal. You know, braking, you can spin it, loop it, braking, sure. Because the braking power is so incredible, but that's what I love. So each session, I kept getting faster. I mean, a lot faster. I kept dropping like half to a full second every session. It was what, 5 of them? 4 or 5?
I think we had 5.
Yeah. Solid day. But it was always the braking, where I just kept braking later and later and later, and then realizing not only braking later, but the shit grips. You know what I mean? Yeah. It would be understeer. So like, let's use the back straight. That was the main turn, the biggest braking point.
Yeah, that's the hardest.
Everybody was slowing and braking like they were grandma out there. And yeah, that was the biggest area where you realize the G-forces, like my sides are hurting still. That turn, that right-hander was awesome.
Yes.
You could really feel the G's there of all the turns, and you could brake so late. And as long as you're not on the throttle, because I noticed if you brake late and try to throttle too early, you'll understeer. You'll miss that the chicane there, or the whatever you want to call it. And but if you don't do that and you just brake hard, turn hard, don't touch the gas, and just screw right through, and then the second you're straight, and make a straight line out of that, you're on the throttle again. And then that right-hander, the final right-hander before you get to the tight section there.
Yep.
It's just full throttle through there too. Again, and that's another area where you feel the G's. Like I'm not even exaggerating. I'm hurting. I feel like a freaking baby.
Yeah. I mean.
And then you get right to the that hard braking. Not even hard. That's the other thing too. Is like you were saying, you're never really hard on the brakes. You don't need to be. It's just a quick brake, and then you're into that left-hander, quick left, right, and on the straight again. You're friggin' on to the next.
Yeah. Yep.
I thought I was going to hate the track. I have shit on Canaan. The time I went up there and helped you out, I was like, this fucking track's stupid. It's a car track. Like, what are we doing? It's boring. It's big.
Yeah.
The bigness of it is what's great.
Well, it helps that we were doing the half track. You know what I mean?
Oh, the half track was awesome. I gotta admit, I've never driven the full track. But from what I've heard, it's fun. You draft a little bit. Who knows? I've never done it.
Yeah.
Hopefully will.
Yeah.
But this setup was awesome.
Yeah,
I thought it was awesome.
I do like it quite a bit.
It was awesome because some curbing, I don't even want to call it curbing, some of the painted sections you could run over. Others are death. So I found out the hard way. Turn 1, turn in a little too early. You don't want to do that there.
No. I
clipped that inside curb, and man, that not only hurt me, but the cart was like, F you! And I almost lost it.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
No.
But everywhere else, like turn 2 was awesome. I've already told you turn 2 and really, I call it turn 3.
Yep.
Back section there.
Yeah, the left and right, you could call it turn 3 and 4. Yep.
That area, that is just awesome.
It is.
Really cool.
It is. Just real quick for those who were basically not there yesterday, we had a practice session to kind of open our season for the year for the NHKA yesterday up in Canaan, New Hampshire at Canaan Motorsports Club. Like Charlie said, first time that he's been in a car for over a year and a half because there has been no rental racing.
Yeah, I mean, there's been COVID excuses and everything else.
Right.
I think valid reasons. Yeah.
Right. So, so yesterday was our first time to get on track with outdoor karts once again for the year. That was first time in a while. I also had my...
yes, you had your... Well, not your first ride,
go, but one of my earliest goes in a road tax because that is what I am stepping up to this year. I did the World Formula thing for 4.5 years.
That's why I'm stepping into World Formulas. Because
Right,
now that the champ stepped out, I'm like, all right, well, that drops... that adds a position, right? That I can pick up, maybe.
All right, yeah, fine. Who's to say I won't come back, But yeah, so we both had a great day yesterday with Charlie trying out World Formula for one of his earliest times as well.
Yeah, shout out to DRT.
Yes, shout out to DRT for...
Thing was set up perfect.
Yep, doing a good job giving him the rental to go out there and have some fun with the World Formula.
Yeah.
Potentially, join this.
Yeah, we're thinking about that. Definitely.
You're thinking about that.
I am. Yeah, you're already.
Your conclusion.
I overthink everything.
Yes, you do.
It's just the way I do it. But
your conclusion is you're gonna do it. That's.
I mean, my conclusion is after yesterday, I was like, it's just the fun per dollar. Yeah. People don't realize it because I actually forgot. I really did. Remember, I was like, we always talk about Sam and his endeavor going on. Actually, I think this weekend. I think he's racing his Acura. I was like, God, I want to race a car. I want to get into that. Or I want to buy a track car that can do both. Or I was gonna buy a Porsche. I was gonna do all this crazy shit. The dollars per smile or smiles per dollar in a kart, whether it's a World Formula tag shifter, I don't think it can be beat. I mean, outside of if you're in an LMP or
because then your dollars go way up and then your ratio sucks. In comparison to cars.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. You need to be rich. Yeah. So no, that's my point. Yeah, it just is incredible.
Yeah.
It really is. Because you're going fast enough and you're in a cart where I don't care who you are. I don't care what you've driven, how fast you've gone on the road. I have a ZL1 Camaro. I do 185 on the highway. Yeah, go 65 to 85, whatever the hell you were doing in the tag. It doesn't compare.
No.
It just doesn't.
No.
Because you feel everything. That's what's so cool. You feel the G-force. It's not like you're in a Recaro seat strapped in with a whole can around you and the harnesses and the roll cage. You're just out there. And also, I love seeing rocks pelt me off the face. I don't know about you.
Because they can with the helmet.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would probably dodge my head a bit if there was like a, I don't know, a tire or anything like that. But it's awesome.
It is.
God damn.
It is. It's
it was.
the purest
I'm still like
driving
in this
experience
nirvana because it's been over a year since I've even driven anything, but it's just like nothing else. You know what? If anybody out there's thinking about karting or whatever, you gotta find a way to do it because it's people I think go out and they do those supercar experiences where you drive a Lamborghini for like an hour. It is dumb, but it's not only that. It's awesome. It's cool, right? It is good, but you're not. No, it is, but you're not. It's nowhere near a go-kart.
No, it's not.
And this is, we always talk about like people that aren't race fans or a girl or whatever.
Or a girl or whatever.
Yeah, well, I try to tell, no, because women, so I'm like, I'm going go-kart. Like, oh, that's cute, honey. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be supportive. That's cool. All right.
Gotcha.
They have no idea. You got to get them out in one, and then, first of all, they're gonna pee their pants. And I think a little bit, they're going to get, so I can't help but think of that song.
Oh, yeah.
We can't talk about it, but...
I mean, we can.
Yeah.
Look up, there's a lovely little song. It's R-rated for those younger listeners. Maybe you do, or...
It's a Montreal special of ours. Every time we drive up, we gotta listen to...
There's a song called Go-Kart Racing by... what do they call themselves?
I don't even know.
It's like Garfunkel and Oates. It's a duo. It's two girls that play music together. It's comedy music. You'll be able to find it pretty easily. Just look up Go-Kart Racing. I think it's Garfunkel and Oates.
Do you know the beat? Can you do the beat?
Garfunkel and Oates. That's the name of the group.
Okay.
Go-Kart Racing. Look up that song. If you have children,
It's a fun one.
cover up their ears, but you'll know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Regardless. Anyway.
Yeah, no, regardless, it's just the visceral experience of karting is, I don't know.
It's incredible, dude. I mean, I had it yesterday with the...
it sounds so stupid, right? So I was telling everyone yesterday, I was like giggling underneath there. Like, it's just
me
like,
too a few times.
you're like, yeah, this is awesome. Like, every time, I don't know how you could have if you're having like a bad day or a bad week or a bad year, like the rest of us, like, goddamn, just get out there. And also, I heard from Mike in the beginning, that was the most people they've ever had an opening day.
Yeah,
that's huge.
The NHKA is growing.
I hope that means we're gonna have not just more drivers and this and that. I hope more tracks or maybe less tracks going away, stuff like that.
We do have a slight bit of hope with Club Motorsport. Up in very north,
which you got to drive.
Well, so they have a go-kart track, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun to go out and test there. It's a little bitty track. It's not even a mile long. The problem is, it's so tight that I think racing there would be miserable. I don't think you can pass. I don't think it would be happening. There is land that they're looking to buy, potentially in the future, to extend the go-kart track.
Okay.
Where now maybe an actual race could happen. You grid space to make a race happen. You haven't been. The way it works right now is like the go-kart track is at the bottom of a hill within Club Motorsport, and you can't really have like a full grid down there right now. It's so small that like the 10 people who show up per day fill up the grid anyway. So if you had like 130 entries like we basically had yesterday for the practice day, that'd be miserable. I really don't know how you would fit all those people down to the grid. Now, there is the parking lot at the top of the hill from the track that maybe you can collect everybody, and then when you're, it's time for you to grid, you just kind of funnel down the hill to go to the track.
Speaking of the grid, what do they cap the races at? Since I've never actually done a world
cap.
So like a world formula, there could be 30 people in the field. It could be 50.
There's been as much when I'm racing. I think there's been as much as like 33 guys.
Okay.
It's incredible.
Is that so? If you're in the front pack, how often are you lapping the back markers?
Not very often.
Oh, really? Okay, that's good.
To be honest,
I mean that's
because the
races
are short. They're only 10-15 minutes. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, which is why that short? No, seriously.
So many engine classes got to get out there and get their races. You know what I mean?
So then, wait a second. Is this a little bit like Formula One, where the race is won on the first turn? Then
no. No,
Really?
no.
Only for
Because
15-minute races?
there's no arrow in go-karts. You can follow each other. So if you are in first place and second place is catching you, he'll get around you. It's not like you get within a second and all of a sudden, oh, I can't do it no more. No, you can keep going up and
Yeah, but it
pass
takes like
that.
5 laps to really get full temp and full everything, blah, blah, blah. So you're saying...
No, it doesn't.
I'm exaggerating.
It takes like 3/4 of a lap to get up to temp, dude.
I know. But... It's a little... So wait, what is a race weekend? So like we got May 8th coming. So how do they do it? Is there mini races with it? And how does it... I don't even know.
The way a regular NHKA event works, usually you'll have a members practice first. A members practice means anybody who is an NHKA member can go out. They don't do it by engine class. All the people go out. So shifters, 206, everything in between go out at the same time. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I wouldn't do it, but not if it was, yeah.
But the idea with that practice is, and Mike makes a point of it Mike Kamara, who
just
runs
to see that your
NHKA.
shit's running?
Right. He makes a point that just, this NHKA only members practice is just to go out there and get familiar with the track. You're not going out there doing 10 tenths. You're doing basically like 6 to 7 tenths. Keep it at that.
It's like walking the track.
Yeah, but
but you're too fat and lazy to walk it. Yeah.
No, I mean you're feeling it with the tires and rubber, not your the rubber.
Right. You want to know like where you can touch, where you can't, maybe stuff like that.
So if you're in a shifter and you come up to a 206, don't be an ass and just like dive body. That's the whole point. Then once that practice is over, the rotation starts. There's 2 practices usually. So a practice 1 and a practice 2. Okay. Usually about 5 to 8 minutes each. You don't get much time.
Okay.
Qualifying is after the 2 practices, and qualifying
What's
is
usually... What's the format for that?
Qualifying is usually very short. It's usually like 5 minutes.
So it's timed. It's not laps. It's just timed.
It's timed, yep.
And your fastest lap is what you get.
Correct, and usually...
So how do you build the gap to get a fast time during qualifying? I'm like asking Alex for tips here, but
yes,
I'm trying to sneak it in as like, just tell us about how the race works.
Here's the thing about the World Foreman class in particular, because I've raced with those guys for so long. There's so many guys that go out into qualifying and treat it like it's a race. Like they race.
Yeah, they did that in X1 too. Yeah.
Yeah, they race in packs and they try passing each other, and it never makes sense to me. You know what I do when I go out for qualifying?
Yeah,
I'm like this.
I'm
like, yeah, you can pass me. You can pass me. All right, I'll give a 1.5 to 2 second gaps with you guys. We're at the line. Okay, now I can start going.
So,
fast.
all right, but that's what I was doing yesterday during practice. It took me a few to realize I just started in the back. I let people. I'm like, I can't get my helmet on. That's actually true. I couldn't, but that's how I realized though that starting in the back was better.
Sure.
Like, what's the point?
I don't know. I think people just. I think what happens is people go out there.
I think it's just gang mentality, the adrenaline.
Right. It's the adrenaline. Yeah, they just see red. They're like, oh my god, I'm on track.
See red? What do you mean red?
You know what I mean? They just kind of like, oh my, they can't think about anything.
I was thinking Chevelle. Never mind.
Chevelle?
Red? See the red? No.
Oh, the band Chevelle?
Chevelle, yeah, the band.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking. But yeah, I think guys
I can't sing, so that's why.
Guys just go out there, and they're all of a sudden they can't think anymore. They're just like, oh, racing, and they gotta pass people, and they can't help themselves. Rather, the best thing to do is like go out there, find that 2 to 2 second gap to the guy ahead of you to do a fast lap.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of success that way.
But you must have
like,
it. It's experience.
If you guys want to race in a pack of 4 during qualifying, all right, go ahead. And then I let them do their thing. I let them get like a 2 second gap. And then when you come to the line, then it's like, okay, now it's time to actually go fast because that's what matters. I don't understand why people race during qualifying.
But if everyone did what you did, it would be the same problem. You see that, right? You do understand that, right? If everyone
I think we could all be spaced out nice and even, like 20 of us.
Yeah, but not if you got 33 freaking carts.
All right, when you get...
Dude, it happened in even Formula 1. What was that? Wasn't it Imola last year?
All right.
No, it was Monza. Remember that? The whole parking lot situation?
Yes.
Hey, guys, what's going on?
But the problem with Monza is that you're going so fast that aero really matters. So if you can draft...
You want it, right. Yeah, right. Yep.
The same
and that's where usually you get that hero lap.
The same could be said for karting, but only at the bigger, wide tracks. Like Canaan full track with a World Formula or a Rotax, maybe you could make up some time drafting another guy ahead of you for a better qualifying lap. But I really think
the whole notion of drafting in karting is kind of cringy to me. I don't know. Because I don't like NASCAR. I don't want to draft. I don't know. But I've never done it. Maybe I'll change my tune. I don't know.
If you ever do a Canaan full race, you will be drafting.
Sure, of course, you have no choice.
You didn't notice it yesterday? Did you follow anybody and notice that the air is not hitting you anymore? It's very noticeable.
There was nobody near me, buddy.
No. You're just so quick.
I don't know, man. I don't know. There's no one ahead of me, no one behind me. It's just, No, really, it wasn't for any of those. Oh, no, that's not true. One of the sessions, I was following someone. Don't know who it is because I just wasn't paying attention to that. I didn't notice it, no. But
really?
No, I didn't, but I think it's because there was so much else going on.
If you come racing with us in 2 weeks.
But maybe that was when I did my best time. I don't know. You know what I mean? I just was trying to have a nice clean day.
Yeah.
And improve.
Right.
So I didn't pick up on that, but I agree. I mean, if you're behind somebody, you don't have the air blasting you, you're going to be faster. Same reason when I'm on the straight, I'm like... Actually, no. So the kart setup I had, actually ended up really liking it. It was like, way back. And I felt like I was on a couch at first. I wasn't used to it. I didn't like it. But I did.
Did the seat fit you?
No, it was too big.
Oh, it was too big.
I mean, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. I'd accept it. I'm not joking with you. Everything felt perfect. It was a little big. I'd snug it up, but no, the laid back approach. I liked it because I felt slipperier, and when I got in the seat, sometimes you're kind of trying to get nice, good posture.
Yeah.
In this one, it was so comfortable. I was laid back and just kind of
oh, that's good, dude.
just like this. My legs were fully extended, and I wasn't straining my ankles. Dude, it was perfect. Oh.
That's good. I did not have the same experience because I still don't have my go-kart, which is unfortunate. I think it's just COVID, screwing with shipping. And
By the way, I think we're not good friends. We should have foreseen this and told you, dude, you really want to order something right now from Italy where pandemic has hit them worse than anybody? There's the average population over there, they're 85 years old. I don't know how that is, but no, really, isn't that what they said? They said their average population over there is 75.
I don't know about the average population.
I don't know.
Really, but,
and they smoke a lot and everything else.
They smoke a lot. They drink a lot of alcohol, wine, and whatnot. But also, the reason they're having a problem is usually they have 3 generations worth in a family living in the same house together.
Yeah, and it's very close quarters.
So when the young people would get sick and probably live.
Yeah.
Well, they would still pass it on to the elders, and they would not have a good time.
Isn't that interesting that in those countries where people are more together and more family oriented, that it hurts them the most? It's kind of sad. Where in America, it's pretty much like, hey, the empty nesters, people move out, we spread out, we like to go on our own, and it impacts less. So it's interesting anyway.
Yes.
A
little bit off topic, but
no, I mean. No, you were saying about with your cart, you started talking about the way it felt.
Regardless, I do not have my own cart yet. I had to rent from Brad Danoff yesterday, and we actually had a pretty good day. So I had to.
I did watch a little bit of it, by the way.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I did have to bring 2 of Brad's carts to the track. Brad is off on vacation. He wasn't even at the track yesterday.
Wait, did you trailer carts?
Yeah, 2 of them.
Okay, I didn't even realize that. I don't think.
Yep. So I trailered 2 of Brad's carts to the track because I was renting one, but also another kid who's brand new to this whole karting thing also came along and rented one of Brad's carts as well. Both Rotaxes, Senior. Yep. And because it's not my cart, it doesn't have the correct seat in it. The seat was also too big for me, and I was getting whipped all around in the seat. But I still had a great time driving these 2-strokes, and I think I'm finally getting them under me. Because I've driven 2-strokes a handful of times previously, and every time it's
Well, what's the hardest part? The transition.
Just getting chucked around. Just oh my god, just all over the place.
But besides that, because you said, let's just say the seat fits.
Yep.
What's the hardest transition that you've noticed?
I mean,
it's just the abuse on the body because you're going that much faster.
Sure, but you also have twice the amount of power you would in a World Formula
Right.
Car. So you have to understand. It's something that you practice in sim racing with powerful cars. With you got to be feather light in the throttle. You can't be just instant on-off switches and shit like that. But now you got to do it in reality when you're getting chucked around at G's, and it's a different thing altogether. And it's something that I've kind of struggled with the few times that I have driven a Rotax in the past. However,
last time I saw you in a Rotax, I don't know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever, at X1 Outdoors. This kid over there was you were basically crying, and I don't know if you...
I don't know about that.
You didn't throw
I wasn't crying.
Oh, he was crying.
No,
He had this yellow stain going down his suit.
No, stop.
Yeah, he was.
Stop.
And then the back of his suit, he had this brown stain. He's like, yeah.
It was bad, but it wasn't. I wasn't shitting and pissing myself.
No, but haven't you've been working on your stamina and endurance?
I have.
Right?
So I got big into
biking a little bit too.
Riding my bike over the winter time. I've been doing push-ups and trying to work on an upper
Yeah,
body
you got 50-pound weights attached to your neck as you're off the side of the sofa.
A helmet, but not 50 pounds. And I think it has paid off. Now, given Canaan's a pretty big and wide open track with, those straightaways, like that turn 3 and turn 4 kind of straightaway, even though it's not, you can rest. You know what I mean? It's not like you're stressing out much when you're going around those corners.
Turn 3 and 4 at...
You know what I mean? You take turn 2, right? And then you still have turn 3 and turn 4 before the break.
Yeah, it doesn't really count. Yeah, it's straight.
You're right, that's what I'm saying.
Which we were talking about earlier. Let's just comment how everybody's following this way over to the right line.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
No, it made no sense. Everybody,
I saw guys in the
everybody doing it. Yeah.
Doing it too. I don't know. I was like, why are you going way over to the right to this very gradual left-hander? Which, whatever. What I'm trying to say is, I think I am starting to get these 2 strokes under me, even though
it's not giving away all our secrets, by the way. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't care. I want the competition, and to
be
honest with you, I think I'm going to have some serious competition when it comes to 2 strokes. Anyway.
Good. I want to see you sweat.
I need to. I mean, I've been doing the World Formula thing for 4.5 years now, with all sorts of success.
Yeah, but you've been racing. Oh, yeah, World Formula. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I've been racing go-karts for 10 years at this point, technically.
That's
I started rental karts at 18. I'm 28 now, but I did World Formula for 4.5 years. Had a great time. I've been super successful, very successful.
Yeah, but it's nice to have change.
I've won a lot of races. I need to step up to 2-stroke. And there is a bit of uncomfort that goes with it, definitely. There is a bit of me that shows up to the track I'm kind of worried about what I'm doing. I'm kind of like, is this even going to be fun or enjoyable? But I need to do it because I need to do something where I'm challenged once again. Not to say that, I'm so good at World Formula that, I'm the best, it was just so easy. Oh. That's not the case. But it was getting to a point where I had so much success, it was like, I need to make the next step.
Yeah, and also I think that is, that's a valid point. And it's not so aggressive like a shifter kart. Like, I've pretty much told you, I don't have any, I think it'd be fun to take one out for a spin. I don't have any desire to ever race it.
I'm almost in the same boat as you. I really don't. I have more experience.
Maybe it's a little bit, I think, the risk reward. There's more risk than there is reward. I mean, yeah, you're going really fast, but it's like, I don't know.
I see it as more work to reward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
You got to rebuild the engine much more frequently.
Yeah, well, money.
Initially, the cost is insane.
But then if I had that money, I feel like there's other things I would do than a shift.
Sure. Yeah. You could probably,
I don't know. When I was out there in the World Formula, the last thing I'm saying to myself is, I need another, how much, what kind of horsepower does a shifter have?
Probably 50, close to 50.
I gotta admit, the tag's a nice jump up, because remember what I was saying earlier, World Formula is perfectly balanced. You don't have too much power, but in a tag, you were saying, you've got enough power where you gotta feather it. And not saying you don't feather it in a World Formula, but you know what I mean. You've got to really think about it.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. Yep.
But
you make a valid point. In World Formula, especially with the way I would set up my karts, because I love oversteer. I would set up my kart to be oversteer heavy all the time. So there would be times on corner, mid-corner through exit where it would be feathered, even in a 4-stroke, but it would. You couldn't go full throttle because it would just kick and go sideways and you're losing time. But now in road tax, it's basically the truth, probably with any setup I can throw at the thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I really haven't worked on setup with a road tax yet because I don't own a cart. And like yesterday when I was driving Brad's cart, I don't want to make any adjustments because, first of all, he wasn't there. So if I made any adjustments and things broke, he's not there to even see it happen. But it's also the broken thing. Like, I don't want to do anything to this cart that I don't own and make it worse and just piss off the owner. So I left it as it was all day, the gear ratio, pressures. I didn't touch any of it. All I did was make sure that the pressures were up to pressure, and that was it.
What PSI what are you running?
I was doing 12 all around, 12 PSI all around. What were you guys doing?
So they...
Give them DRT secrets, come on.
No, I'm pretty sure we had mine set. So we had them set around 14.1 and 2.
Wow.
All right, so listen to this. We dropped them down because they said it was too high.
Yeah.
They dropped the pressure down. I went out there. I mean, I still was running faster because you got to keep in mind, hadn't been in a cart in a while. If I'm not getting faster, then there's problems, okay? But I did not like it. So we raised him back up. I think we got him down to like high 12s, 13s, and I didn't like the way it felt. Yeah. You know what the only issue was? We weren't out there long enough. To me, it felt like it was the heat took too long to build up. So I was like, no, raise him back up to 14, so much better. Because it took less laps to get, well, obviously, like, the less pressure, the longer it takes to get that heat up. You know what I mean? So I felt like 14 was a sweet spot. Yeah. Where it would get up to temp pretty quick. I went faster. It felt better. So for me, it was like 14.1, 14.2.
You guys were doing tenth of a pound? Like 14.1 pounds, 14.2 pounds?
That just happens to be what it was. I don't think it was intentional. Why? I think it's just a reading. I think you're looking too far into that
statement. Were you using digital scales? I mean, a digital gauge, I should say?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't have a digital gauge.
When you're just shuffling over money.
When you're racing for the DRT.
Right.
All right, yeah. That's kind of funny. I've always done my pressures in like 0.5. I've never thought about tenths.
I don't even remember if they were. I want to say they were. You got to keep in mind, guys. I just was trying to keep it on the track. I think we had different pressures per side. Does that make any sense?
What? It does. It does to a point because it was a clockwise track. So technically, your left sides are going to heat up quicker than your right sides. Okay. You could think that way. You honestly could do that. A lot of us are simpletons and just go out with.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, hey, listen, I'm not gonna deny. Everybody there knows more than I do. Yeah. Excuse me. I can't even talk.
I gotcha.
I'm down my Bloody Mary here, but you know what I mean. But that's the thing about racing and karting is that you have to leave your ego aside and you gotta listen. And I do appreciate everybody that gave me all the feedback. Yeah. When I was there, because during the day, when you do listen and you actually take those changes and implement them, they work. You know, Keith was talking to me quite a bit about the track, and not to say you haven't or Rich or anybody else, but
I understand. Yep.
You know, turn 2 was one of those things that you don't notice it really. I think a lot of people probably have raced there many times and don't realize how much room you have to track out there. Yeah. And then the turn after that, I'd call it turn 3, but whatever, when you're taking that hard right after the back straight.
Yeah.
So
I got you.
we're on the clock. You can break a lot later than you realize. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's just it's one of those things. And you know, sometimes you don't have the confidence to push it yourself. You need to hear someone say it. But on the flip side too, a lot of people too. I think the problem is they ask the questions like, "Are you either on throttle or on the brake?" And it's always not that simple. The simple answer is you want to keep it smooth. You know what I mean? If the cart's flipping back and forth like this, you're scrubbing speed. And that's what some people are better at telling, which I'm just using this example when Keith was telling me that, you know, on that turn there, turn 2 in particular, because that was the one that, for me anyway, opened up the rest of the track. Once you could carry that speed there and get the confidence, it kind of set up the rest of the track, because then you go down there in the technical section and you just feel it. And you just feel it, and it's just a smoothness.
Isn't that the greatest thing about karting?
It is. It's feel. Exactly. Yeah. And this is where, you know, you talk about kart setup. I think it's a lot of human setup. Like you're half the weight of the whole thing. You know what I mean? It's I hate to use the analogy, but like I got into mountain biking. It's a lot with a hardtail, and it's a lot of your body weight is the part of the machine. Yeah. So it's like what you do with yourself is what, you know, happens on the track. I don't know. That's what's so fun about it though. Versus say getting in a car, like a race car, even a GT3 car.
When you get into a car, the biggest thing about a car versus a car is suspension. You don't have suspension in a go-kart. You just have direct feel through tubing and whatever else you're sitting on. Yeah. To you, and that's what tells you what's going on. It's direct, and you know if you're good enough, you can use your experience to understand what you need to do with those inputs that are given to you.
So one of the things we're going to talk about real quick here, because I have a passion for it in the background here, is sim racing. And I was talking about iRacing with some of the guys there and stuff. I will say this. So after getting back out there, man, the simulators now, while they're not 100% realistic and this and that, no G-forces, they simulate understeer and oversteer so well. Because what's funny is when I first hit turn 1 and 2, what came into my mind was simulators. Like I literally, because the understeer and oversteer is really well displayed in a simulator. It really is. And it's just funny how that came to my mind. I was like, oh yeah, this feels familiar. I remember this.
Yeah, that's
It's
cool.
pretty interesting. You know what I mean? Because I've been doing a lot of that over the last year in place of real racing, and it keeps you sharp in that regard of what to do in different
It
situations.
does. I think sim racing, even though there's plenty of people who will say, oh, it feels nothing like driving a real car. Yeah, you can argue that. But what it does teach you is it teaches you how to adapt to a
Those
physics
situations.
system that is happening. You know, and you can switch sims and you could drive iRacing, Assetto, Automobilista, whatever it may be. You can still learn how to be fast in each one. It's changing conditions. Well, apply that shit to the real world. In the real world, it's even better because you have more, forces to help you out to tell you what is going on. So just apply that knowledge about, being able to adapt to different physical systems now to the real world and apply it the same way. Again,
and it's easier in real life. That's the cool thing because you have the G-forces.
Because you do
No,
have.
and all the racing drivers that did sim racing said the same thing. It's easier in real life. NASCAR said it. Indy said it.
Will say that.
Because it just is. I mean, it's always going to be easier because you can feel what's going on, other than the steering wheel. Other than the steering wheel.
I think it's easier to drive cars in reality because of the like we were saying, you have more senses to use. Not necessarily easier to go super fast. You know what I'm saying? I think it's much easier to go intensely super fast in a sim.
Sure, there's no consequences, yeah. You built, so you know what? Someone said it great. They put it the best, I think. In a simulator, you start out really fast. There's no reason not to. And then you back off from there. In racing, a real car, cart, whatever it may be, you start out slow and you keep building up.
Yeah.
And it's backwards in a sim. But that's one of the problems too. I think some people just get out there and go 110%. And then you start spinning and breaking stuff. But then
think about it. Yesterday, how many guys spun out like on the first lap in front of you? Did anybody do that to you?
Yeah, but I spun twice too.
Sure. You're
there's nothing wrong with spinning. It's where you spin and how you do it. And luckily, I didn't do any damage. Never even went off the track. I kept it on the track. Never lost. Never stalled the engine. Like there's ways to do it. Never collided. Never touched anyone. I just think being a clean, smooth driver, like we talked about Lewis, and I've also talked about you out there too. Never had an incident with you except for that one famous time at the indoor track when I punted you out of the way because you gathered yourself and I didn't expect it. And I was like,
You didn't expect me to gather myself?
No, I thought you were gonzo. I thought you were gonzo.
Shit driver, huh?
Yeah. You're a sloppy mess. Oh, man. But anyway, so on to Portugal this coming week.
Yeah. What are your quick predictions? I haven't done any research.
Yeah, you know what? Look at 1 and 2. It's either, I think the prediction is Max or Lewis. I'm going Lewis on this one.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to go Lewis. I'm going to go for 2. I think Bottas has a rebound. I'm going 2 for Bottas, 3 for Max.
So, all right. So Lewis, Bottas, Max. That's what you think?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be...
And then I think it's going to be the normal guys, then McLaren, Ferrari. I'd love to see some of these other guys.
You'd love
Aston
to see
Martin
it,
step up. I think it's going to be... All right, fine. My prediction will be Ferrari oust McLaren this time for the 4th spot.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Because they've been getting better and better.
I think it's going to be a good day for Red Bull once again. I think you're going to get Max to win because there's so many corners and there's plenty of high speed.
There's plenty of corners and plenty of braking, plenty of accelerating.
Shut up. Yeah, I understand. I know.
Race cars. It's a lot of fuel.
Yes, but it's such a curvy and swervy type of track, and usually the Red Bull chassis is superior to most. I think Red Bull's going to have the better day.
Okay, good point. Yep.
But I do think you're going to have both Mercedes in the podium with him. I still don't see Perez rebounding and throwing in the podium performance yet. I think he's still trying to adapt to the Red Bull car.
Yeah, me too.
But then, I could see Ferrari. If they're in the same momentum, doing better than McLaren. However, Lando's been a standout. Lando did way better than Ricciardo, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing in Formula One is an age gap barrier, whatever you want to call it. Ricciardo's been around, Vettel's been, all these guys that have been around for the most part. They're falling back.
It's unfortunate.
You know what I think it is?
Anybody who changed teams.
Yeah, but Daniel Ricciardo's too focused on jokes. And I love Daniel Ricciardo. He's like my favorite. No, but these other guys, when they're not racing like Max, Lando, when they're not driving a real car, I forget how many hours Max puts in on a simulator. He lives and breathes it. He literally lives and breathes racing.
He does.
And I think some of these older guys, like Vettel, do you think Vettel's doing any of that?
No. I think Vettel's...
No, but all of them. Even Fernando Alonso. He's endorsing, he's busy endorsing Logitech.
Alonso's different to me. I think he just has a lot of natural talent. It's unfortunate that he doesn't seem to be showing it yet with the Alpine, but...
It's nothing. Wait, yeah.
Yeah, the Renault Alpine, whatever you want to call it.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, but it seems like most guys, except Carlos Sainz, I would say Carlos Sainz is the best example of somebody who's changed teams last year to this year and is actually doing an okay job. Everybody else is doing shit. Ricciardo's not doing the greatest. Alonso, like we said, is not doing the greatest. Vettel, definitely not the greatest. Also Perez. Perez not doing the greatest. Perez showed speed in qualifying. He qualified second. You can't really say
shit. Yeah, he's good.
But I think it's just going to take time for those guys to get adjusted to the new teams, new cars.
Same way it did with Lando. He slowly keeps getting better.
Right. Yeah.
Charles Leclerc has been doing pretty good. He's getting back into it.
Yeah, he is. He's kind of the Ferrari boy right now. You know what I mean? I know Sainz is in the team and he's good, but I mean,
Carlos is a bit overrated. I think he's
What? Really?
Yeah, relative. Yeah, relative to say Sergio. Yeah. Like, I think Carlos kind of took the limelight because he's moved. Anytime you move into Ferrari, it's a big deal. But Sergio he has more potential. Definitely.
All right.
And if I was picking a team, which you picked those. Did you ever do that? What was that thing called? The website you filled out for. It was like Fantasy League for Formula One.
Well, we are doing a fantasy
league
this year.
Oh, okay.
Are you in it?
Nah, I couldn't figure
it. You didn't?
No, I thought I did, and it didn't go through. Because technology.
I don't think you're missing. There's a lot to it, but I also don't pay attention to much of it. Just
I don't care.
So it seems like
I don't even do fantasy football or any of that. No. But all right. So the next time we'll chat will be after Portugal.
After Portugal, yeah.
And who knows what will happen in the meantime? You never know. Maybe we'll get in a fist fight between then and now, talking about Valtteri.
If we talk enough about Valtteri and Russell,
I'm kind of done with it. I've moved on.
All right. Good. Good.
So anyway, thank you for tuning in.
Yes, this has been the third episode of the Formula Hooligan podcast. I am Alex Holmes and you are
Charlie, Jose.
Thank you very much for joining us. Once again, big thanks to our sponsor, Newport Propane, which
there you are, in the front.
Once in a while, there it is. That's the logo right there. Pops up on the screen. And hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers. Adios.